And that's why we had to do this draft with you guys instead of me, Justin and I in our sports podcast doing a draft.
You guys would make it boring.
Like, oh, Major League 2. Miracle on Ice 2.
Speaking of which, Moses, it's my pick, and I've delayed this long enough.
Lay it on us.
It's Miracle. I know I'm going to get a whole lot of from people. You didn't pick Slapshot as your ice hockey movie.
I was going to say Goon.
Goon wants to be Slapshot.
It wants to be Slapshot.
It's so
hard.
Yeah.
So I picked Miracle because one, I think it's more like Slapshot is a great hockey movie, but it's funnier than it is about hockey, in my opinion. Like it's obviously it captures a lot. I've spent time. My brother used to play hockey. I've covered ice hockey before. I've practically lived in ice hockey arenas, so I know it's all about the culture of being on an ice hockey team.
I want to jump in on that. Did you say that it's funnier than it is about hockey?
I think it's funnier. Like it's
Then I wanna disagree a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the hockey thing once again with and I'm stealing your thunder right now, but with Slapshot, I agree that hockey is just the medium, but I don't think that it's funnier. I think that it's a great drama film.
I mean, it can be, but that's also a part of its time frame.
Yeah.
Where it's like you had to have a little bit of a story in your comedy. You had to have a little bit of a heart in your comedy. It can't all be a Seth Rogen comedy where it's nothing but jokes for an hour and a half.
Exactly. And it's from a time period where comedies were much drier and it was much more so like built into an overlaying theme.
So what's the dry part of the joke? It's like, Suzanne eats.
Yeah, right? That's that, and that's the peak of the comedy right there.
That's the peak of the comedy.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, and that whole movie is also about them, like, being a minor league team too, and just like him being like a player coach.
And the struggle of like working class America. It's a big part of it. Because the whole theme of it initiates with that their factory shut down.
But here's the thing.
So it's a blue collar movie.
But here's the thing with that movie. None of that ever happened.
No.
Miracle is a time capsule of 1980. Not even just the 1980 Miracle on Ice team. It is the time capsule of 1980s America post-Vietnam in an era where patriotism is completely dead.
Yeah.
You're in the middle, like in the middle of that movie too, like while they're leading into like a little transitional phase, they're playing a Jimmy Carter speech.
Yeah.
They're really selling you on the idea of how much this could mean to a country just based on how much we felt at the time that we were losing to the Soviets. And I know we've talked about this off camera before, where it's just like, well, it's political. Well, of course it's political. It's international hockey.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, it's not like it's Greyhound, where it's just like, oh, yes, Team USA, you are playing the Soviets, you will lose.
It's not over the top and demonizing of the opponent. It's
if anything,
teams.
it wants to let you know how good that USSR team was.
Yeah.
I reminded myself the other night, just looking at how many times they won the gold medal, from the time that they came to existence, I think that was 1956.
Around there, yeah.
To when they finished playing in 1992, they got the gold medal every single time, other than 2 times, I believe.
Yeah.
They were like a
that
dream
good.
team of
Because they take it seriously. Russia doesn't have a lot of sports, but the one that they've got a few others, but Americans only care about hockey. They take it seriously.
They would beat NHL All-Star teams. They would beat Stanley Cup champions. That was how good that team was. It was so good that Canada tuck-tailed and ran and boycotted playing in the Olympics because they were like, well, they're using professionals. Why can't we?
Yeah.
So they stopped. Canada stopped playing. This team was that good that Canada gave up on playing hockey temporarily.
Imagine that.
They had curling to fall back on.
Curling. That's awesome. I forgot that was a thing.
And all of that. It's this team of kids from Minnesota and Boston, and they hate each other because they played each other in college. And there's the one, and Herb Brooks, who is masterfully played by Kurt Russell. Just absolutely phenomenal in that role. Just is able to bring them together by, first of all, being a coach, be like, I'm going to get you to fucking run through a wall to do this. And it was one of those moments like Kurt Russell. I remember him from freaking, Escape from New York.
Snake Plissken is a great actor. And I mean that legitimately.
Big Trouble in Little China, all these great movies. I think I like him the most in this, just because of how well he got Herb Brooks' mannerisms down, and just
he took it seriously.
In the drama too of like the one in that when he's in the freaking locker room trying to inspire the team. It's just like great moments require great men. And like all the whatever the fuck he actually said.
Very inspiring.
But he's just like, and at the very end, like when he just says like, now go out there and take it. You're like, Jesus Christ, I'm ready to go fucking play this team.
Sitting on your sofa in full hockey.
Yeah.
I too will win one for the giver.
It was one of those movies where like, I know I have Rocky and it was compared to Rocky, but unlike Rocky, unlike Major League, unlike most of the movies that we've listed other than maybe Cool Runnings,
That's the real gem.
Miracle fucking happened. And it has been the foundation of USA hockey ever fucking since.
I could agree with
That's
that.
why I picked that movie.
Yep.
I could agree with that.
All right.
It's the real. It's the real serious choice.
It is.
Yeah.
I guess we needed one of those.
Yeah, that will probably be my the most serious I get about any of these picks.
I'm thinking it's going downhill for me, so go ahead.
All right, so we are now in. Oh wow, that ate 10 minutes.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
Put your soapbox to the side.
Maybe I'll clip that.
You got a Pelican case for that? Amazing.
You know, the amount of how much I actually just talked so glowingly of that. Disney should give us a freaking check.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey.
email us.
Oh, that's one more point before I get off it entirely. I've heard people say, well, that's not a real hockey movie because nobody says the word fuck in it.
Oh.
And I'm like, are you a fucking idiot? Because that's
Yeah, that's so
It's
stupid.
because hockey players curse.
Yes.
Yeah,
sure.
Everybody curses.
Everyone fucking curses. The movie was made by Disney. Do you want to maybe put together why?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They've just started getting into the cursing genre.
Into the shop.
Yeah, and like the Marvel movies, they'll allow one or two, and then they, did the Deadpool, which was not as much cursing as it should have been, but there's enough cursing,
But enough to party.
just enough.
I think my miracle speech.
Well, you pulled, I think, a solid 10.
I
5 to 10.
I looked at it. I'm like, no. There's no way. There's no way I pulled
It
it.
needed it. It needed it. Like, we knew that was going to come up. It is kind of like the Paramount serious, very much of the time, excellent story.
Yeah. It is one of the greatest upsets in the history of sports.
Absolutely.
And the thing that's been pissing me off lately is that people who know nothing of hockey were like saying like, oh, it was the United States beating Canada in the Four Nations face-off, the biggest win since the Miracle on Ice. And I'm like, no, you idiot.
Oh, my goodness.
United States beat Canada in the 1996 World Cup of Hockey, which was the next pinnacle moment in USA hockey, because the United States being good at hockey is new. It is brand fucking new, at least in comparatively to like how long Canada has been good. I just heard that, and I was just like, research before you say the thing.
No, people don't like to do that.
Yeah. But like,
Research is hard.
and the funny thing about it too is the United States beat Canada in 2010 during the Olympics, and then the loss in the gold medal game. It was the exact same thing with this Four Nations face-off. Yeah. And then people they don't pay attention to that. Like, oh, hey, yeah, we did beat Canada that time.
Right.
So it's just like when people try to like graft onto it and just say like, oh, well, they were into it because of the stuff with Trump.
Well, no,
the anthem getting
most
booed.
recent, the Four Nations game is so blown out with people because like you have so many people that don't know hockey at all.
Don't know a blue line from a clothesline, which was an iconic line that Al Michaels said right before the 1980 game, where he said like, it doesn't matter if you don't know the difference because it's not about that. It was sort of similar to like, I kind of wanted to have more of the discussion with Pete about it because I understand international hockey is deeply rooted in politics.
Absolutely.
It's like where all of the rivalries come from.
It is truly the game of nations.
Yeah. Why does every freaking hockey team hate Russia? Well, they kind of, tried to fight everybody.
Yeah. A lot of history.
Yeah.
Aggressive. Very aggressive history.
Lot of history between Russia and, the Czech Republic.
Especially.
A lot of history with Russia and Finland. A lot of history with Russia and Sweden. A lot of history with Russia and name a European country. And that's the thing that's been irking me since, like, I guess they might be in contention to show up for the Olympics next year.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to
because
say.
the ban went till 2025,
Yeah,
and now that effectively they're trying to negotiate the end of the Ukraine war. That might be on the table.
It could be. It could be.
Which is the thing that pissed me off about this too, because like I sound like I'm sympathetic to Russia when I'm just like, no, the hockey players.
Funny how it comes off like that sometimes.
The-
You have to understand people.
The hockey players didn't do anything,
No.
and why aren't they in this four nations face-off thing?
Right.
The Russia that they had,
Yeah.
they probably would have beaten one of the United States or Canada.
Oh,
They're goaltending.
yeah, for sure.
They're goaltending. They would have had two. They probably have the two best goaltenders, at least in terms of playoff success, in the league.
Agreed.
So the idea that they're not allowed in,
Yeah.
just because of like, all right, well, we're just going to do a four nations face-off thing, and I'm like, well, that's great because you have the rivalries anyway. You got like the United States, Canada, and you have Finland, Sweden. That's a rivalry as well, so you can play off of that. But it's like, Russia, everyone hates.
Yeah.
So you can completely lean into that. And it would have been a more stacked lineup than, unfortunately, Finland had.
Consummate boogeyman.
Yeah. No.
know?
And then without them, the United States becomes the one they're like, we're getting our anthem booed and all that shit.
Yeah.
There was a time where it's just like, the United States and Canada would have been like, you know what? Just beat Russia.
Right.
Just beat Russia.
Just beat Russia. That's all we ask of you.
Well, that's how fucking dominant they were during the Soviet days. I know I said it during the podcast, but like,
I mean, different level, like truly scary.
Yeah.
And the political stakes were so fucking high.
Yeah. And it was also too like, I don't know if I gave it enough credit that those were just truly like collegiate level amateur hockey
Absolutely.
players that were just like, you're going up against a team that destroys all-star teams that can go toe-to-toe with the Flyers beat them, I think, like in 74, 75 or something like that.
Around there.
But it took a lot of shenanigans from the Flyers. It was just like fucking slashing people, punching people, and all that stuff.
Absolutely fucking wild.
So, but like to go toe-to-toe with international hockey rules and beat Russia is like, we can't mimic that.
No, you can't.
It's
You can't.
only
You
like
can't.
like Latvia beating Russia or the United States or Canada
Sure.
is similar to that.
Yeah, no.